Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your end of April 2018 tarot update. It's Raina here. I'm using the Druid Craft tarot deck, and I'll show you the back of them, and I'll show you how big these are. These are bigger than the average cards, and so let's just get right to it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there might be an Aries person. I was wondering, I was thinking that from the beginning, but somebody with a strong Aries. And by the way, you know, even if somebody, let's say you were with somebody who was an Aquarius, for instance, if they have Aries rising, you may, a lot of times, or especially people that don't know this person very well, may assume they're an Aries, because that rising sign really can overwhelm the sun sign if the rising sign is like Aries or Leo, because they're very those are signs that we would say are very overpowering, and so they can outshine the sun sign, especially if the sun sign is more subdued. And of course Aquarius would be subdued, Pisces, and signs like that. So Virgo. The heart of the matter is the Five of Wands. I don't think I've ever drawn this card because this is a new deck for me, and well, I'll just tell you, I haven't drawn all the cards in it. So there's the first time I saw the the illustration. I just think it's funny that they have a chicken right there. It seems kind of random, but it's not symbolic of anything. I don't think. Not that I would know of. But the Five of Wands is a card of competition. Sometimes it can be like a friendly jousting match where you're just, let's say that you and a coworker are basically good buddies, and yet you kind of compete with one another, or like your students and you like compare grades, but it can get not so cute sometimes too. And even with your partner may feel like you are doing better than they are. Maybe you're feeling it on your end, I don't know. And it creates problems in the relationship. In the workplace, if you have an environment where people are, it's like a dog-eat-dog environment, people are walking over others to try to be the pet of the boss or something like that, that can be a very toxic environment, because the boss may be fostering this toxic environment in order to get more productivity, or just because they happen to be a narcissist and they want to have everybody competing for their affection, you know, in terms of who they favor in the workplace. And so that could be what you're thinking about in this last half of the month. Now, if you work for yourself, for instance, this can totally still happen. Even if you work for yourself, when people have this mindset of, I have to beat the competition, there isn't really an understanding that there is no competition. There's enough to go around, and you can't really compete with anyone. I see people all the time who get very upset, you know, who are on YouTube, because they're comparing their channel with somebody else's. And if you have a channel yourself, you'll know what I mean. And they really feel like they're not good enough because they don't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And, you know, it's hard to convince a person like that that's foolish, that's silly. But because, I mean, I'm sure all of you are the same way. You don't care how many subscribers that are on the channel that you're watching if you really think that this person is good. Some of the most popular things are also the lowest common denominator. So it's not, you can't compare in that way. And so the same thing applies in any area of life. And it's kind of like stemming from a faulty belief. From the card that represents the, what do you call it, like the challenge, we're looking at the Ten of Cups. So this could be on the domestic front. Well, there's two possibilities. Either if you have a toxic environment, you're bringing it home and you're spreading it to your family. If you are in a home where your partner is, you know, kind of riding you or, you know, being mean to you because they're jealous, they're envious of your success, and they feel like, really, somebody who's envious of your success feels not good about themselves. So that's why they would be mean to you, to try to knock you down a peg. And in doing so, they're actually creating more problems for everyone concerned, including if you have children. So that can be problematic. Or they may, you may have been waiting to get married or the equivalent, or having a commitment ceremony, and now either you or the other person is thinking twice because of this issue. And it could definitely be you, Sagittarius, because you may be thinking that this person is way too competitive and with you, and that they're just going to make your life miserable because they don't feel good about themselves. So you may be kind of like rethinking a wedding, or just any moving in with this person because you think that perhaps it won't end well. At the root of this issue that is creating some of this is the Queen of Swords. Now, in some cases, there could be a mother who is interfering, and this would be like a mother who's very critical of her child, and she might have instilled in that child this idea that it's a dog-eat-dog world, and you have to get what you can. But she could have poisoned the well about the other party. She could have, you know, not given her blessing because she's envious herself, or jealous, I should say, of the partner's, of her son or daughter's partner, and doesn't want them to be in a relationship to begin with. And there is also the possibility that with the Queen of Swords, this could be the boss. and she's very critical, you know, because swords are, you know, it doesn't even have to be malicious. They're just looking at things from an analytical point of view. But, you know, sometimes you can be on that mental plane and you haven't, you know, you really haven't, like, connected with your heart chakra when you're doing it. And so there can be this tendency to be very, you know, cold about some of the statements that you make. Swords are also about communication too, in addition to your thoughts. So if you communicate in a way that doesn't have a sense of compassion, then that's not going to be very helpful. Although, I have to say though, with the Queen, usually it's not completely cold-hearted. So perhaps perhaps this person is actually, she means what she says, and she's just being who she is. It's just that the other people are reacting this way. And they just happen to be the type of people who believe that life is all about competing. And you may not fit in with that crowd anyway. So it's like, it's not even worth it. But the spiritual message, one thing too, that I want to say, if any Sagittarians have been involved with a water sign person, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, and you have met someone who is of the swords element, the air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, especially Aquarius, then this card is saying the Aquarius person is for you. And actually, Aquarius is a sign that would be more compatible overall with Sagittarius in terms of respecting the freedom that Sagittarians crave. If you were with a water sign, you may have had a lot of conflict. The Five of Wands can also just be general conflict. And you may be tired of fighting with this person because they don't get you. And, you know, getting into this trap of getting somebody to understand you is pretty fruitless. So there may be a person who has come into the picture who is an air sign, and they're not about that drama. And they're not giving you, you know, a lot of grief for wanting to do things. Actually, it's funny because I was going to say the word travel, and then this card, the World card, is the advice. Gosh, what is with all this nudity? At least she's got a fig leaf. But anyway, the World card is the last card of the Major Arcana. It's number 21. And it could be speaking of you winding things up. Maybe this, if you have some kind of like a job, drama on the job or in your personal life, it's been going on for a while and you know that you need to stop it. You will be having a full moon in your sign, Sagittarius, at the end of May. So that might be the time when some of this gets resolved, where you just say, I'm done with this part of my life. That's what kind of the World card can be about, tying up the loose ends, closing the chapter in your life, an era is ending. And remember that Saturn was in our sign, because I'm a Sag too, for 2.5 years until the end of 2017. And now in 2018, we have it in Capricorn. But even though, as I record this, that's 4 months later, it's really not that big of a deal. We still may have that cycle. There may be still some things that we are trying to resolve. And perhaps at least by mid-year, so starting in June, maybe we can feel that a lot of that stuff is behind us. The World card is also about travel. So, and Sag rules the 9th house of long-distance travel. So you may be doing that for either profession or pleasure as a way to get away from this drama. What's coming in is represented by the Seven of Swords. This could be that you are deciding to go on your own and do your own thing, again, whether professionally or personally. However, this can also be a card of discovering that you have been the victim of theft, or if it's a workplace, it could be intellectual theft, or that somebody has been cheating on you. So sometimes the MO of people who start drama is to kind of cover their tracks so that you're not asking questions about what they're up to. And so that might be something that occurs where you find out that they have been the ones. Again, when will this happen? Well, maybe this will happen either at the time of the full moon on April 29th, which is at, I believe it's at like 9 degrees of Scorpio. This is the 12th house for Sagittarius. So this could be times when secrets are revealed. But also at the end of June, on June 29th. I mean, May 29th. Because having the full moon in Sagittarius means that the 7th house is going to have the sun. So that will be specifically with relationships, there could be something that is, at least maybe you learn about yourself connected to this other person. But possibly by the end of April, this may all shake out. And the outcome is the Lord, which is actually the Emperor. And sometimes the Emperor is somebody who is in law enforcement or the military. I said you have the World card. Maybe there's somebody that you have always been in contact with that is in the military, and you're going to go visit that person because you're realizing that your current relationship isn't cutting it. But this could be, I think this could even be like a judge. So if you're in a marriage that is, yeah, I mean, I was talking about an impending marriage, but you could be in a current marriage that maybe at one time was really good and now it's degenerated into a lot of fighting. And you could be seeking the counsel of a judge. It could be during, just talking about the person, what sign they are. I mentioned a couple of possibilities. But again, even if they are, let's say, an air sign. I use the example of Sun in Aquarius and Aries rising. Who knows? Maybe that's exactly what it is for some people. And the point is that the Emperor is about feeling in control. So maybe this is about you feeling in control of your life. Feeling, it's number 4 in the major arcana. So a sense of organization, lack of chaos. The 5 of Wands is a chaotic energy, okay? Not only because number 5 is all about instability, but fire, if you think of something that cannot be contained, fire is this wild kind of a thing, and that's why fire signs kind of are wild. We are always seeking to escape from being contained. We like to expand. Fire loves to expand. Very expansive. And if you've been with somebody, and this could be in the workplace too, it's not just in personal relationship, that you felt has kept you down, then you're going to be like wanting just to like break, free. But the Emperor is about, freedom within a certain disciplined framework, so that you're not just reacting, but you're acting. Because that's sometimes what people do, is that they go from one extreme to the other. They're in this really oppressive situation, and then they're like, oh my God, I got to get out. And then they're just wild. And there's not that middle ground. Okay, Sagittarius, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you would like a private reading, please click on the link below and check me out online. My website is rainandmoonastrology.com. Take care. Bye.